Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show. I am your host. My name is Brian. I have with me, as always, superstar producer, friend, wingman, good all-around guy, rock star, dark star. Howie Darkstar.
Hey, everybody.
And then, of course, as usual, swinging Pastor Jay Brennan right down here with his mic muted, which is the only time you're going to not hear him speaking. He's talking.
What's up, everyone?
Once again, we're gonna fly by the seat of our pants here.
There you go.
All right.
I'm still going to guide it
last
towards
week.
MTV, but
We did that last week, and I think that we had one of our best shows last week.
yeah, last week was good.
I liked how it turned out. I watched the replay, and I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I'm probably jinxing that by saying this now, but hopefully we can have a show, of that caliber tonight too. Something different, good, and fun and spontaneous. Because I think that's how we work best. If we overthink things, I think we kind of tend to monologue and things. This is more fun.
And how about if we save at the end a little plug for our little thing going on?
You can plug the little thing at the end.
The little
of the
thing,
show.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got more news today.
Oh, right on. Well, we've got Atlantic City coming up next week. We've got some stuff to talk about with that. We will talk about it towards the second half of the show. But for the first half of the show, I did a video the other day where I was talking about my experience as a guest at an event. Did you guys happen to see that video?
No.
Yes, I did. It was very well done.
We talked about that with Sean Big Daddy on your show. What, about a month ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. About being a guest and being present, being in the moment, so to speak.
Right. And in theory, I think everything we talked about in that show was golden. But I thought I'd do or bring up maybe some things that perhaps are maybe a little more real world.
Right.
With what's going on when we attend events as DJs. We're not the DJ. We're there as a wedding guest or a party guest. In my case, last weekend, I was there as a quinceañera guest. And Blanca and I stuck around for the whole thing. We were there before the music started. We were there after the music ended. It was a lot of fun. Crowd was held all night. Dance floor was packed. 200 people. We didn't know a lot of people there. My guy Juan was there. Of course, he's family to Art. I met some people, but it's not like we were running around being social the whole time, but we were enjoying it. We were sitting and talking and having drinks and enjoying the evening. But I had to admit, or to, once again, quote Pastor Jay, I have to be honest. There was a reason that I was able to not completely tweak out at this event. And that's because I was there as a sound tech consultant. Because I think that's my trigger at events. I think that's what I wanted to talk about in the show. Is there something that triggers you at events that takes you out of the guest zone and puts you into the what's going on? Why do they do that? Or, hey, I can go up and fix that zone. In my case, it's primarily a sound thing. If I have to scream at the people around me, I'm thinking the sound system isn't tuned right, or it's too loud, or there's probably just too much mid going on. Again, fortunately, I was able to go up and make those adjustments. It was a lot of my stuff at this event. That's why I did it. And I was asked to do it. And I did some, I think, pretty smart mid cuts on it. We used the Evolve 50s. Some people would say, oh my God, you used Evolve 50s at a 200 person case, and yet heresy. No, it was fine. It was really good. And Art.
Not according to the internet.
No, well, right. I mean, we talked about this last night. If you read it on the internet, it must be true, right?
It must be.
not according to the idiots.
But no, it was fine. It was actually better than fine. It was really nice. The dance floor was packed all night. And it was a big dance floor. And everyone was able to talk. Nobody was being chased out of the room to talk. And no one said, it's not loud enough. So, the DJ, Eddie B, who's Art's DJ, he actually brought in from Texas to do this event. And if you don't know, Texas, Milwaukee, nowhere close to each other. So that was quite quite a trip he had to make to come and do this. Was very impressed with the system as well. And he's from Chicago originally, does a lot of events, and he was sold on the whole column array concept and not going with this big giant, quinceañera sound system kind of thing. The DJ is special, and I know JC's laughing, but you can't hear him because his mic's muted. But anyway, is there anything that triggers you at an event that you're attending as a guest that the DJ is doing? Or what are your big triggers anyway? Do you have anything, Jay, that when you're attending an event that just you can't ignore?
Yeah, for right or wrong, I can't stand when DJs jump around on BPMs by drastic. Like play a 130, play a 105, play a 120, play a 112, or you can hear. The biggest one that bothers me is when they don't use master tempo, or even when they do. I recently heard a DJ play Luke Bryan, Country Girl, Shake That For Me, and he played it at 115 BPM, which is about 12 BPM faster than it should be. And even with master tempo, it sounded terrible to me. Yeah, I just know where just have a general idea how far and fast you can go with a track. And I understand programming is the ruler of the day, but there's a point where, either try to mix a little bit or program and if you've got a packed dance floor, I'll ignore it. I'll even Shazam it, and I'll keep a record and go, man, I saw a DJ at this event do these 5 songs in a row and he killed it. I'm willing to give it a try. But if your dance floor is dying, don't be so drastic. And don't play the whole song. If it's not working, get out of the song. Like, I can't stand when a DJ will let a song play for 3 minutes to just dead air on the dance floor. It's
right.
Like,
I mean, you got to know when to get out.
Dude, kill the song. Like, it's not working.
I mean, I personally try not to micromanage anybody else's event. I mean, I'm not there at that capacity. But in this case, I kind of was. I was their technical advisor, the best way I could put it. A little bit of lighting, a lot of the sound stuff. I really wasn't trying to judge this DJ's artistic integrity. Whatever they were doing is what they were doing. And yeah, maybe it's not the brush strokes that I would make on my canvas, but it was effective. It was very effective.
But that's the thing. Yeah. It's not judging if it's working.
Right.
If it's working, you're not judging. If it's not working, or if it becomes drastic, where it's like, you just don't know where they're going to go next because they don't know where they're going to go next. And, just at least climb the ladder. Like, if you started slow, work your way up a little bit, or get out of this genre into that. A quinceañera, I've seen a bunch of them in other rooms when I've done events. They're all over the map, but the floor is packed. So I look at it from the perspective of whether he's mixing it or not, whatever he's doing is what this crowd wants. And that, to me, is why I wouldn't invite you to see me at an event. Because what I'm doing for crowd A may not be what you want at your event. So it's a fair representation.
How about you, Howie?
Well, briefly, I had a similar thing happen to me where I was at, because I'm known, that's what my first foray into the music industry was, sound. So they asked me and I helped out but the thing that really triggers me, but I don't say anything. I'm not that guy, and it doesn't, but dots and train wreck of light shows. It's like, come on, where's the elegance? That just drives me wild. If I see a gig bar on Sound Active, that will trigger me. But I won't say anything. And, if they love it, they love it. But that'd be my trigger.
I really think what it comes down to, listening to what both of you have said and what my thing was, I think we're fine if there are no red flags. In Jay's case, he's saying if no one's dancing and there's master tempo on, but the song's being played way too fast, it takes you out because you hear it and it's not right. if they're playing a 3-minute song to an audience that isn't dancing, cranked up real loud, why not jump out and try something else? Howie's case, it's a light issue. It could be an uncomfortable lighting situation where lights are in your eyes. You're getting hit by moving heads and lasers and stuff, or the audience is, and you're thinking to yourself, man, I could help resolve this problem, but this isn't my event. But you become preoccupied with it. That sucks. And in my case, it's always the audio. That's the big trigger. If it hurts to be in the room, I don't want to be in the room, and I don't think anybody else does either. However, I have the advantage of knowing why it's hurting, and I usually know what could be done to remedy it. But if it's on my event, I don't feel like I can come in and say anything. So ultimately, really, and Jay said it, look, maybe this DJ isn't doing things the way I would like them done at something like a quinceañera. But if it's effective, it's effective.
Yeah.
Can't argue with success, you know?
But that's the whole, but it's also, I learned a long time ago, when you talk with a client that doesn't hire you and they save money by going cheap, the expression someone gave me, another DJ probably 15, 16 years ago, was, it's just too bad because they'll never know what they could have had.
Yeah.
And I use that weekly when I look at video or YouTube or whatever, and I just go, they're thrilled. And at the end of an event, people look back on the night and their perception is reality. And I've seen video posted on Facebook, on YouTube, that's like, and the DJ's, talking, going, yeah, they didn't dance much, this, and this. And then they do a video interview with the bride and groom, like, oh my God, Jimmy was awesome. The place was packed all night. The dance floor was never empty. I'm like, did you watch the video I just watched? But that's the reality of the bride and groom. And you know what? That's what you want. I stopped playing for the room a few years ago because the room doesn't do reviews. The room doesn't recommend me. The room isn't concerned with me. The room doesn't know me. But the bride and groom do. And I ultimately owe them everything I've told them. So if a DJ had met with the bride and groom and said, you know what, I can play Luke Bryan and mix it into Billie Jean, then that's what the DJ told him. I'm not, judging is a terrible thing because it makes you look better than them. And that's not the point of this conversation.
Not necessarily.
Well, right. I think in respects to when I make critiques, and that's why I don't like them. Believe it or not, I'm not a big fan of critiquing because it oftentimes comes off as a negative. But if it's a positive, then I can still critique it because it's just it's a style or it's a take.
There's a trick to critiquing that I learned a long time ago, and it's the same thing with management. It's the same rules because I've had to manage things before, shops and things and positions I've been in. Let's say there's a problem with an employee, like a specific problem. But it's not like there's a multitude of problems. There's a problem. And you know this just as well as anybody else does, Shay. If you can give 2 positives for every negative, you can get your point across.
Absolutely.
So constructive criticism is usually welcome if you're not putting people on the defense. Now, there are some people who don't want to even hear that.
Right.
But most people are... I found that most are relatively open-minded. You have your personality types out there who will not accept that, but I think anyone in this room would be happy to accept some constructive criticism about what they do if it's done in a way that is helpful and not in a way that is abrasive, I guess, if that makes any sense.
I got asked today to critique a video that somebody did to promote their DJ service, and it was a private video. And hey, what do you think? And I did what you said. I gave them 2 positives. I your cadence is there. You're well spoken, but it sounds like you're in an echo chamber. I said, what are you using for a mic? And it turned out he had a shotgun mic 20 feet away. Otherwise, the video was really well done.
Right.
And I just said, well, you know what? I would go with it for now. I said, it's really a good video, but next time get a lavalier mic put it on your tie, and it'll serve two purposes for you. You're going to get a much better audio for your promo video, and the client will see that you have professional gear. Everybody knows what that little lav mic is. They see it on news anchors and actors and so forth. So,
right.
Yeah. But I didn't. I would not go out of my way to say, "Hey," but I was asked.
Right. Right.
I never ever.
It was
critique
solicited.
anybody.
Yeah, then you're almost obligated, because they wouldn't have asked you if they just wanted you to say, "It's awesome, you're amazing."
Well, some people do want positive reinforcement and will seek it, but I think most people really do. Most people want an honest critique or just some help with something.
It's kind of like when we were at the Irish pub in 2018. And Jay had brought the president of Pioneer DJ there, and they asked you for your honest opinion, and he said, in his way of saying he doesn't like yes men, and he was surrounded by yes men.
Jay was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you saying that."
But you told him the truth,
I did.
And he liked that.
But that's and I get that a lot too, because I get asked my opinion, and I'm in certain circumstances, I'm really hardcore. No, and this is why. But I always back it up with, because what we as DJs do, this isn't a help; it's a hindrance.
Right.
Like Brian was saying about managing. I'm also a huge fan of praise in public, punish in private. So I wouldn't go on YouTube and put a clip and go, check out how much this DJ sucks, he can't mix.
Right.
Once I put a photo up on Instagram, and the DJ in the room next to me had a power strip hanging in front of his table. So picture his cables going halfway down a white tablecloth, and then a power strip, and then one power cable coming off it going under the table. And I took a photo, and I think I posted it and then took it down. Because I'm like, all I'm doing is like punishing this guy in public. I'm going against what I believe in. So I took it down. But I wanted so bad to go up to him and go, "Hey, bro, how's it going, man? How's your night? I'm Jay. I'm the DJ in the next room." Yeah, but I didn't even know how to broker that. Like, and what do you say? Just want to let you know, this looks like shit. Like, this looks horrendous. Yeah. This is the worst thing I've ever seen.
It reminds me of something my mother-in-law said to me, or my Jackie, Stevie's grandmother, who's passed away, said to me, she was a public school teacher, and she did first grade. And there was this one kid who she said was just the most unlikable child she'd ever met. Like, this kid was not only just a nightmare, behavioral wise, but just dumb as a rock.
Wow.
And the rule that all the teachers went by is that you always have to lead with a positive when you go to parent-teacher conferences.
Yeah, of course.
So this kid's family, his mother and father, is coming in for this parent-teacher conference. And they sit down, and she smiles and says, "Well, I have really good news for you. Your son has perfect attendance." That's the only thing she could think of to say nice about the kid.
And hopefully someday Brian will grow up to be a DJ or something that he can excel at. No, it's, I think we are our own worst enemy sometimes. And a lot of us, and I'm going to be blunt, and this might shock people, I don't have an ego about my DJ skills. I'm constantly trying to get better. I'm constantly trying to learn. Sure. Every event I do, I genuinely walk into every event and say, I'm only as good as the last one. This one has to be better. My wedding this Saturday, 2 couples will be in the audience that I was their DJ back in 2018 and 2020. And then the bride and groom were at those weddings. So they hired me. I have to do better than those 2 weddings, but not to the point where they go, what the hell? Like, Jay,
I would have wasn't as good.
Like, I don't understand. But I can't do the same show all the time, and I'm very conscious.
Yeah, it's
Right.
gotta be different.
You know, I know a lot of DJs that have assistants, and it seems to be a new trend. And people now are asking, like, do you have an assistant? I'm like, no. Like, it's my gear. I'll touch it and set it up. It's me. I'm the thing.
Yeah.
And I think for the most part, we are some of the most negative, and I'm very negative, but not about this. People are so negative about each other in the industry. Nobody wants to help. You know, I can count on one hand the guys on YouTube that are genuinely there to help. But there's probably 1,000 video DJs on YouTube tonight who are going to tell me why I'm wrong or what I do wrong or how I'm not as good as them.
Well, you know, Jay, if I really think about it, and I mentioned this in a video in this video where I was talking.
I've got to find your channel. I was unaware that you were even on YouTube.
Yeah,
I'm excited about this.
I got a couple of videos up, but I said towards the end of the video that, and it wasn't any particular order of importance that I talked about things, but it just occurred to me to say this toward the end of the video because I don't script my stuff typically.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a younger, less mature human being and a DJ, I used to be that one who would go to the DJ and just tell him, I'm a DJ too. What speakers are these? I got better speakers than these. Why don't you play this set? Hey man, you're losing your crowd. When I was younger, I used to do that. But now that I'm older and I said in the video when I was a less mature DJ, but the truth of the matter was I was a less mature human being.
Right.
You know, now this is not my gig. This is not my place. If it's solicited, if I'm asked, if they know me,
right,
I'll help them out, like was the case this weekend. But if it's unsolicited, they don't know who I am.
Right.
I won't introduce myself as a DJ. I just don't do that. I have to wonder, Jay, if the younger generation out there doing some of these videos maybe got some growing to do, and that's just where they are right now. And that's okay.
That's a great observation.
They're just not there yet, you know? They're right. Young.
Well, and I think,
if you think back, you know, I'm like, yeah, what was I like in my 20s, you know, like early 20s? Yeah, I knew everything. You know?
Oh yeah.
And then I matured and I realized, wow.
But it's fun. It's
a lot
funny.
Of learning to do.
I think as performers and artists and whatever other, you know, descriptive term you want to use about us as DJs, there's a point where I just surrounded myself early on in the industry with people that were like, hey, check out this mix that I came up with. Like when I do road shows for Pioneer DJ and I get a room full of guys in hoodies and they're staring at the gear and you can see the, you know, bead of saliva coming out of the corner of their mouth, I'm in for a good time because they're going to ask me questions because they view this as their passion. And I think we're not going to do it tonight, but there's, you know, passionate DJs like us who love what we do. Mm-hmm. And then there's not passionate who are just trying to make a buck and have figured out this is a great income stream if you can capitalize on it and get sparklers and clouds and crap. But it really comes down to wanting to grow and mature. I can tell you right out of the gate, and this goes for anyone that's a DJ, I did a wedding years ago and John Digweed was a guest. And he came up to me and he saw I had two CDJ 1000 Mark IIs and a DJM 600 and he goes, wow, I love the setup. Great music tonight. Thank you. And he walked away. He didn't introduce himself. It was obvious from me being like, hey, John. I knew who he was. And I took it that night. This was 2003, 2004. A real DJ will never come to you and say, hey, man, I'm a DJ. Can I jump on the decks? And I've probably had 10 or 12 people come to me in my career and say, hey, man, yeah, I'm the bride's cousin, I'm the bride's nephew, or I'm a guest, or whatever. I'm a DJ. What are the chances of me jumping up on that? And I always give the same answer. Absolutely no chance at all. This is my gig. Right. This is my gear. It's my livelihood. If your cousin, the bride, told you could DJ, she's wrong. And I know it's her wedding day, and if I need to, I can explain it to her. It's never gone that far. It's always just, and that's my point. You're not passionate about what you do if you want to show off in front of your family.
There's sometimes things that you see as a DJ where someone else is spinning, and you have to ask yourself, did what they do enhance the experience for the guests, or was it just kind of a self-serving thing?
Yeah. Well, remember our topic about lights years ago?
Yeah.
The line 5-10 years ago was, when a DJ has a huge light show, they're not doing it for the crowd. They're doing it for other DJs.
Yeah.
It became like a, dare I say, pissing thing.
They were doing it for themselves because nobody else was experiencing it except the DJ behind the booth, the way
but also they look around and go like, wow, I can't believe Brian Red's using 4 Chauvet Intimidators or 5 American DJ Hex this, or he's using Vizio spots. And like, did the guests care? I have a wedding this Saturday. Howie's been nothing but amazing in teaching me how to use the American DJ Airstream bridge. And I haven't called him in the last few days, and he's probably like, wow, Jay, what's the deal? You got a wedding this weekend. Well, I talked to my bride and groom. They've got market lights over the outside porch and dance floor where I'm working. Mm-hmm. And I talked to him the other night, and I said, I've got this new app. I can control my lights wirelessly. I said, I'm going to bring some up lights. They're like, that'd be great. There are some trees around the dance floor. Can you put a white light on them? Oh, yeah, but I can change the colors. I can get dramatic. And she said, you know what, Jay? I'm going to be honest with you. We've seen all the different colors. Damn it. Shoot, sorry.
No, I'm just wondering, did she actually say that? Because it'd be great if she did.
No, what she actually said was, you know what, Jay? We saw a wedding at this venue a year ago. And we kind of, we were stalking the venue. We were lurking and looking, and they had the white market lights, and we've ordered the same exact lights. And that's really what's setting the tone. It's a beautiful outdoor, on a cliff, under trees venue. And we love the look of the white lights. I said, well, why don't we try this instead? How about if I just put white lights on the trees, and I'll bring the dance lights, but maybe I don't use them? She's like, we're fine with that. We really are. We love the white lights against the green and the brown and the dirt and everything. So the reason I haven't called you is because I'm literally going to put some Chauvet, Freedom Bars around trees and turn them on white and walk away. Now, they could have any number of stuff, but every client's different. And it's not fair for me to come into them and go, well, Howie and I went over these little movers with the gobos, and check this out. What I'm going to... No. I didn't listen to my client. And I think, you need to first and foremost listen to your client. Yeah.
No, that's a very good point, because it's like if you went in and ordered, hey, listen, I want a pizza with pineapple on it, and the pizza maker said, no. You have to try my homemade sausage. No, you want pineapple. Okay. Give them the pineapple. I love it. You're giving them what they want, and you're still using your gear in white. They're going to be happy.
Yeah. The event's never about you. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the event, if you're a DJ and you show up and for even a second, and by the way, I agree that we can make and break events. We all know that's a fact. But it's still not about you. It's always about your client, and your growth and your level of professionalism will only increase when your focus is on the people paying you and what they truly want to make that day, because you don't get another day. I can mess up Brian Red's house party next Saturday. Pays me $500. I mess up. My gear breaks down. Brian, I'm so sorry. I'll tell you what I'll do. Pick another Saturday. I'll come back for free. I'll make it up to you. Brian probably feel okay about that and be like, wow, man, I wish you hadn't messed this one up, but all right, Jay, I'll take you up on that. Well, guess what? That's never going to happen with a wedding. Exactly. You can't make up. If you have a bad DJ at your wedding, you can't call Howie, Brian, or myself on a Monday and say, how much to make up for that bad memory?
Well, there are so many factors involved in this equation, and I feel like I'm real fortunate that most of the time, with exceptions, of course, we have exceptions, but most of the time, the folks that I work with hired me because they trust me.
Right.
And I had a meeting with the client at 7:00 tonight, which was 2.5 hours ago. It's when the meeting started, ended about an hour and a half ago. But I told him, I'm like, look, I'm going to throw a lot of ideas out there, based on what you're telling me is happening, based on your times that you're getting married, based on the times dinner is starting and the time things are ending, how many people are in attendance and what you've generally got going on. I'm going to throw some ideas out there that I feel like won't rush things, but will put them in a nice, good order where it's orderly, it's easy, and we're not going to have a hard time getting people's attention. Having said that, I'm not the boss. You're the boss. I'm only a coach. I'm here to help you. Yeah. And I told them very bluntly, if you don't like something I suggest, feel free to tell me to pound sand.
100%.
Because, and they laughed. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. If I suggest something that no matter how much I feel like it would work well for your event, if you have a different idea and you really want to do something different, let's do that. And they laughed. They said, no, you are so helpful. We really appreciate this. This makes sense. We're glad you're here to help us out with this. But there's the cool part. They knew that I had their best interest at heart. And I really do. I really do. And Jay, I know you do when you do events. And Howie, I know you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, my catchphrase is, I'll make it stress-free for you.
Yeah.
I had a bride years ago write that on the review. Jay managed to take all the work and worry out, and I put that on my website.
Isn't that beautiful?
And the next quote I put was a groom a year later said, wow, and this is a God's honest truth quote, wow, I'm so glad the best DJ I ever saw at a wedding was mine.
And then the other one says, I think I recognized him from some porn in the 90s or something.
The fourth quote was, to have John Wick DJ our wedding. Dream.
Yeah.
No,
I think I recognize him from gay porn.
Yeah, that could be too, though. Hey, $20 is $20, Brian. Every client I meet with, I say to them, do yourselves a favor, hire the vendors that are going to do the best job for you, but that you trust. Because even though I know I can do an amazing wedding, if you don't trust that I'm going to do your wedding amazing, then don't hire me. It's okay.
Right, exactly. And that's, I guess that's the thing.
Don't feel bad. We've had a great conversation. We got to know each other a little bit. I'm only focused on doing a great wedding on September 25th, 2022.
Yeah.
You're getting married that day. You and 20,000 other people in the area. I'm going to do a great wedding that day, and I'd be happy if it's yours. But if you don't trust me to be that vendor, you're going to be worried from today till next September. And what you should be able to do is once you've hired us, walk away. And the same thing works in reverse. I got hired the other night based on a photographer recommending me. And at the end of the conversation, she goes, oh, this is the one to hire. For what it's worth, I hired him to do my sister's wedding. And the couple went from an inquiry at 2:00 to at 7:00 at a wedding, texting me going, hi, Jay, it's Joe and Yolanda. We'd like to hire you. I'm like, oh, okay. For what date? I'm like, actually, can we talk tomorrow? I'm at a wedding. No, we just want to make sure you're available. I'm like, okay, well, I'll answer you at midnight then, because that's when I'm done working. And they hired me based on, they understood they wanted what they called the A team. They wanted vendors that all knew each other, trusted each other, and that they could trust, because there's nothing worse than worrying after you hire anybody. Did I make the right choice? Michelle went through her health issue. We went to one surgeon. We left. We walk out. I go, she seemed really nice. And I turn around and tears are streaming down Michelle's face. I'm like, what's the matter? I didn't like her. I didn't feel connected. And I'm like, on what level? She's like, I just think she's probably a great surgeon, but I don't know that she's a great surgeon for me, because I didn't feel like it was me she was talking to. It was just the surgery. And then we went and met another surgeon, and the exact opposite happened. And that's the surgeon that ended up doing the surgery. And we have zero regrets, and we're cancer free, and life goes on, and everyone's great. But, you know, just like with any service, you've got to trust the people you hire. But you have to trust them that they're going to take the work and worry off of you. They're going to have, I tell couples all the time, as I'm sure Brian and Howie do, hey, if you got a question, shoot me a text. Like if it's about your flowers, if it's about the tuxes or limos, I may not know the answer, but I do this for a living. I'm at a couple weddings a week, every single week. I'm always in wedding mode. Maybe I can give you an answer that helps.
I did the same thing tonight with the client I was talking to, because, and of course, this is a trend here where I live. You're taking your friend Steve and getting him ordained online, and he's doing everything he can to learn all about marrying people, but really doesn't know what's going on. So they asked me, you know, hey, could you help us out with this? And I said, yeah, I direct rehearsals. And I looked at the calendar. I'm like, you know what? I'm actually doing, and it's true, I just got booked for this disco party at a country club in a couple of weeks. I can't do this for him.
Nope.
So the night before, I'm doing this big disco party. And I said, but I tell you what I'll do. I can't come and direct your ceremony, which I'd have to charge you for. But why don't you have your friend Steve give me a call, and I'll walk
him through it,
and we'll see what we can figure out. You know, it's not that hard. I'll be there on the day of. You don't have anything too complicated you're asking for. Maybe I can help Steve out a little bit. So I'm going to get a call from Steve and talk to him and help him out. There's nothing in it for me except that, you know, they'll have a more successful event, which ultimately is what I want to do, again, about the client.
Absolutely. And one thing and real quick, this happens every week when they've got Steve ordained for the day.
Yeah.
I say, is the officiant a pastor or a friend for the day? Oh, it's my brother. He just got it done for the day. No problem. Now, as you all know, Brian, you would know, Howie, you might know, this was a gift about 20 years ago, and this has hard drives and all my paperwork. It goes to every event. This has been used probably 30 times because they don't know what to do with the paperwork, or they have their phone. And when I tell them you can use your phone, it won't look good, but you have to put it on airplane mode too because of the RF signals. But the biggest issue at every wedding is just please make a note. Yeah, what's the note? Once you say, who gives this woman away to be married today to this man? Her mother and father do. Great. You know, Jim, go get your fiance. They come up. I want to welcome everyone. You can be seated. I can't tell you how many weddings I've done where they're standing for half of the wedding, and I'm on the side going like this. And it looks like I'm just like, you know, fanning them. And I'm like,
been there, done that. Been there, done that.
Sit.
Yeah.
Dude, anyone can get, I mean, I've been ordained for 20 years. I've done 10 weddings, but I tell everyone to sit.
Right.
Sit.
Yeah.
One time it was an outdoor wedding seriously in the woods. They had cut out this square thing and a stone arch, and they were standing, and I'm in the back, and so I just got up and I'm like, you may be seated. Like it was like the voice of God. They didn't know where it came from.
Good for you. I never thought of doing that. Well, I have 2 mics and they're both up there.
Yeah, just very softly, you may be seated.
That's
and
good.
You know what? I got the raised eyebrow, like, thank you from the officiant.
Well, you know, you're going to get asked to do things. My wedding 3 weeks ago, you know, did you want to do a blessing before the meal comes out? Actually, yeah, we want to talk to you about that. Okay, what would you like to talk to me about? We want you to do it. Yeah. Okay. Now, you have 2 choices. Oh, man, I don't know. I've never done a blessing. Or you do what I would do. You just go, wow, what an honor. Thank you. Then, as you announce, after you introduce everybody and they sit down, you say, ladies and gentlemen, just a moment, we're going to actually bring the bride and groom's meals out, and then I'm going to have staff come out to release tables. But the bride and groom have honored me with a request to give the blessing today. So at this time, if you'll all bow your heads and then say whatever you want, make it pretty, make it nice, and you will endear yourself to the family. Don't joke. Don't say over the tongue and through the gums and all that crap.
Right.
Just say something that makes sense to the day. The very first one I was asked to do, I will admit, I said, and now please bow your heads. And the whole room, 150 people, all went like that. And the voice in my head said, just say, and now if you will put $20 on your plate in front of you. And I didn't, luckily, but that was actually what almost came out of my mouth. But be prepared. You don't know.
Right.
If you're the trusted wedding expert, if they come up to Brian at that wedding and say, and knowing Brian, this would be a stretch, but if they come up to Brian,
this conversation, we did this on a show like a month or two ago,
right? But that's the thing about being prepared on these things, and it's part of that level of trust, because that to me is the ultimate sense of trust. When they feel they can ask for you to do that, they look to you as
to your
everything
point,
for their day. That's kind of my point. Not as much about the month ago.
Right. And that's true. But that's what I was going to say is maybe that's what separates some of us more mature cats from some of these younger cats. And it's not digging on the younger cats. It's just saying they're not there yet. They're just not there yet. And if they stick with this, they will be there eventually.
And we can learn. Sure. I've learned from the younger guys some of the mix techniques. Some of the like, wow, they mixed that with that. That sounded pretty cool. I will watch anybody's vlog because I can always learn. And I will have a pen and paper next to me. Actually, it's a quill and it's parchment. I'm a little older than some of you people.
Dip. Yeah.
Dip. And I will write down, wow, that song and that song worked really well. Wow, they did that for the introduction song. That was a smart move. Oh, they're on the dance floor introducing everyone from an iPad. You know what? I don't work with anyone else, so I have to be behind the booth, but I want to learn. I want to be better. I want people to walk up to me like, man, I'll be blunt with you. A year ago, I saw you do a mix. It was okay. Now the mix you're doing, it's great. And I've felt that way since I started with Pioneer in 05. I think you're supposed to mature. I think you're supposed to get better.
Yeah.
You know, you peak but I think you don't peak until you're willing to peak. I think you should, you should always look better.
I haven't. And that's not to say that I'm incredible at what I do as a DJ. That's just to say that I'm interested in doing different things.
Don't you think you're better now than you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
Sure. Of course.
I mean, I know you play nothing but Prince now, where that's sort of a downer if they're not into Prince, but outside of that,
nothing but Prince.
I'm just saying.
Well, it just all circles back to the passion. If you have the passion for it, you're going to get better.
It's been
in anything.
Yeah.
I genuinely do feel like I have a talent for it. So that helps. It's not something that I'm forcing myself to learn how to do. There are some people who have aptitude and some people who don't. And those who do not have the aptitude struggle with it more. And it's more of a mathematical equation for them. Where with me, it's more of an aptitude thing. I just kind of do it. Right. But I'm always trying something different. I'm always trying new things. I don't do the same show twice. I might do the same hour twice. That happens. Here's a really good family hour I can do. And here's generally the same set list I've played the last couple weddings. But the rest of the event's different. It's almost like, I don't know, Jay, did they have those choose your own adventure books when you were a kid?
I don't think so.
School? They were interesting because what you could do is
I know what they are.
You'd read the first paragraph and it said you're walking down the street and you come to a road. And then it says which way do you go, right or left? And if you choose right, you go to page 39. If you choose left, you go to page 10 and you read the story, but you choose your own adventure. That's almost how it is as DJ. You might start at the same first paragraph, but then you choose your own adventure from there.
Well, and it's like doing outside events. I just got my check a month late, thank you, from a school event I did from 9 to 4 back in June for a middle school graduation. Now, you look at me and think, why were you standing out in 95-degree weather for 8 hours doing a middle school graduation? Because it's not an event I do all the time, and it was a Wednesday. And it gave me a perspective that I don't have. So the next wedding I do and someone goes, oh man, TikTok, boom, I just did that event. I think you need to cultivate the talent sometimes and step outside a little bit. And I guarantee school DJs would have looked at my performance and been like, man, you should have done this. I don't know. So I would have gladly taken the advice.
But a good school DJ would also look at your performance and say, you know what? I wouldn't have done that, but I never thought of that. And that was interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
That happens too.
I played a lot of Aerosmith. I thought kids liked
what I was just thinking is, I just talked about a Choose Your Own Adventure book, which is a real obscure reference. It's pretty much every live action video game ever made too, I guess. I don't play them, but it's the same thing. You start at the same place and you make your choices from there. So
like Pong.
For you,
this is like Pong.
All of you out there under 50 years old, that might be a better analogy for you. How's that sound?
Pong. I think he means Pong.
Yeah, I mean Pong.
A lot of skill and talent. Well, you know when you grab your Etch-a-Sketch? You know when you have to sink the battleship? It's like that.
It's like Battleship a little bit. You guys have fun tonight?
I did. Always.
Before we wrap the show, I know Howie's got some stuff to talk about with this great adventure we have coming up next week in Atlanta.
Why? What's next week?
Well, you guys can talk over it. I'll share the screen.
Okay.
And this is what we have coming up a week from now. And Jay, you want to talk about Pioneer here?
Yes, I'm waiting to hear back on something else. But for now, if you come to the Beret event on Tuesday night at DJ Expo starting at 8 p.m., you will be asked to, I believe, turn in a business card.
Yes.
And then at some point in the evening, 2 pairs or 2 sets, however you want to word it, of Bluetooth HDJ Q1 headphones will be given away on the spot. So we will be giving, or Howie and the crew, or however it's done, they have 2 pairs of headphones that they're going to be giving away. So we're very excited about that. I found out last night, and I'm just going to toot my own horn. Along with, I believe, Dan Carpenter, is John spinning, Howie? John C.
Yes.
From Boston? John C. from Boston.
Yes, he's spinning.
Who else is spinning?
Jimmy is planning to be there. Eric.
Oh, good.
Eric from
Washington?
Lake Placid.
In Lake Placid.
Yes.
Yeah, there's going to be a number of us that are going to be spinning. I think there'll be open spots. I'm saying up front, I'm doing a wax
and a surprise DJ as well.
Oh, beautiful. And I'm working on maybe 2 surprises. So
now if you look to the right, here, ADJ, I just found out a few hours ago, they are giving away a bunch of swag as well, and a Decker LZR. That is the mini Decker with the laser. And it's a very versatile fixture for, a small event. You do bars. Yeah. Perfect.
That's cool awesome. For small shows.
Hey, this is the place we're going to be at. That's going to be our stage right there. Awesome. We'll have horseshoe seating, so left, right, and center, and there's the other look of the stage. It's really a beautiful place. So
it looks familiar, and as I'm to understand, go ahead, Howie.
It was modeled after the Stone Pony in New Jersey, a famous place where Bruce Springsteen played and where the Asbury Jukes play often. Brian loves that group.
Yeah. Well, Southside John, wasn't Southside Johnny? Yeah, Asbury Jukes, Southside Johnny. Wasn't he the house band or something? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was on with God rest in peace. The Anthony Bourdain.
Paul Lynn.
Yes.
When he was in New Jersey, and he met up with Southside Johnny, and they had a sandwich somewhere in Asbury, New Jersey.
Weren't they both an F Troop? I don't know.
No, that would be Larry Storch, but that was a good try. Good try.
Larry Stark.
Dude, you want?
You remember? I forgot that. It came right back to me when you said Larry Stark.
Come on. You want to get Ken Berry? Come on. You want to go there?
Whoa, Ken Berry. You know, Ken. Oh my God.
Come on. You want to go back to the 50s and 60s? Come on.
Yeah,
I got your number. Yeah.
That's great.
You're driving a car you weren't even born yet. I was already born, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying.
I'm just thinking about that.
No, I'm looking so forward.
Blanca's older than my car, and that's depressing. But you know, it is. Yeah. What it is.
No, I am too.
So I guess we're not going to be live next week, but we probably will put some videos up unless we can get a good enough signal to do a live thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll see. Well, we've got the show. Yeah, next week's going to be a challenge, but maybe we'll have a wrap. Maybe we could do a show at some point that we could then post later.
Yeah,
right.
That might
which is exactly what we do now. Now that I think of it, I forgot. John disappeared like 6 months ago. We went into witness protection.
We're live. Not really.
Yeah. I know. We could start shooting this at like 4 a.m. It's like, oh, there they are. It's 7 o'clock. No, I'm so excited for next week to see you guys in person and see a lot of people and meet JC and some other people. And it's going to be a great time.
It'll be good. But
it's really going to be fun.
Just understand when I'm eating ribs, man. That's what's happening.
I'm playing a wax track set. Front 242.
Are you really doing a wax track set?
I swear to God I am. Yeah, I'm doing a half an hour wax track.
I don't mean to be that guy, but do you need some help?
No. I've done a wax track.
You know
set
where I live, right?
2 or 3 times.
80 miles from Chicago.
Well, but here's the thing. Now, you should be appreciative of this. Front 242, Ministry in My Life with Thrill Kill. Lords of Acid. Not really, but to me, Lords of Acid are wax.
Close enough. That's fine. Yeah.
That's see. Yeah, I've only got 30 minutes. So
Pete Manifesto?
Nah, it's on
Psych Out. I got the right version for you.
Maybe.
I know, definitely.
No, then send it to me. Yeah, if it works, I'll throw it in there.
And you might as well do the really cool remix of Nitsareb's Lightning Man while you're at it, because it's very wax track sound.
You know what? It is. And Nitsareb was in contention the first time. And what's funny is I did The Damned, but I did that Dolce, which to me will always be a Miami Vice track. And I opened my wax track set with that, and people were like, "Oh my God, I love this song. What is it?" And I'm like, "It's actually The Damned. They're not wax track, but it's kind of like
Aretha Franklin Motown. No, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's that vibe. So
I think it's more like, when do you get to play Thrill Kill and Lords of Acid?
I sprinkling the lingle you're laying out here. So
yeah, no.
Like I said, can I be of assistance?
Then I would be happy to take some of your expertise.
I didn't mean that in a condescending manner. I did not mean that in a condescending manner at all.
No. But you know what? You mean
when it comes to yacht rock, I probably do. But with this,
no, I know. We've had that talk. You, me, Nick Hahn are probably the 3 guys that I can think of that when you say wax tracks actually know what we're talking about.
Right.
Even though, and I'm hoping people in the comments say, no, I'm a fan, because most people are not. Well, just My Life with Thrill Kill. Last time I saw them on tour, they opened with Hansel and Gretel for Lords of Acid. So imagine the night I had.
Let's discuss this set when we log off.
Yeah,
let's discuss this because maybe I can help. Maybe I'm not, and maybe I'll stay out of it. But if I can be of assistance, I'll be of assistance.
Well, by then I will have pulled up the set. So.
No, don't blow it here on the broadcast.
No. Surprise set.
Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you in Atlantic City.
Yeah, looking forward
to it.
Guys.
New
Jersey, here we
Thanks
come.
for watching.